Hi guys, welcome back to Skyfactory 5. Thank you for checking out my channel, and let's hop right into it. Alright guys, so on today's list, we are going to be just kind of progressing in that quest book a little bit more. The next thing in it should be making a printer, and what that printer is going to do is actually getting us all of the... We actually finished all the colors too last time. So the next thing that we're going to do is get that printer and make RGB dye. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is make a Stirling or combustion generator to make some kind of power. So I'll be right back whenever we get the stuff to make this Stirling generator. It's pretty simple. It's just redstone and gold and a little bit of iron, and we're going to make some andesite. So I'll be right back whenever I have all those resources. Alright guys, and that should be all of the resources that we need to make this Stirling Dynamo. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go over here and turn this iron into an iron nugget, and then we are going to make our first iron gear. And then we're going to take this redstone and make a flux coil with it, and then we should have all the stuff we need to make our first Stirling generator. So this Stirling generator is going to be how we're going to produce our first power in this mod. So I'm going to make a little area for us to start all of this new automation, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, and here is our new area that we're going to start this generation of our resources. So we're actually going to be using this RGB dye and crafting it and putting it into a printer, and that printer is actually going to be sort of like a sieve and making us resources. So if we look up RGB, so we're going to make this dye with red, blue, and green dye, and then we are basically going to take that and throw it into a printer, and it's going to give us resources. So the next thing that we need to do after we made that Stirling generator is we actually need to make this printer, which is going to take us a little bit of resources to do, and it's going to take us a little bit of time, so I'll do that, and then I will get right back to you guys. And there's the resources that we need to make our printer. So let's go ahead and go over to our crafting station so we can make this printer. So we've got this machine frame that we need to make, which we need to make a gear first. So we'll make that tin gear using tin. And then we'll make that machine frame using all of those resources. And then we can finally make our printer using the rest of those resources. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to make some power cables to get power to actually power these components. So we're actually going to use these energy cables from Cyclic right now because they are the easiest ones for us to make. So it's just going to take some redstone and some stone bricks, which we're just going to smelt some stone and make those stone bricks. And I'm going to make some energy cables, and I'm also going to make some item cables so that we can go over here and make some red, green, and blue dyes, and then flow it straight into our printer and start making those resources. I'll be right back after I get the stuff to make these energy cables and these item cables, and then we'll get our whole area set up. Alright, we have the stairs and the redstone to make these energy cables. So let's make some energy cables, and let's also make some item cables. So the item cables are going to need a copper nugget. So I'll show you guys how you make copper in this. So you're basically just going to go down here and take orange dye and green dye and make that copper. So we're going to take orange dye and green dye, which we need a little bit more orange. So we're going to go over here to our orange and take a dye block out and turn it into more orange. And then we're going to go in here and take copper, and we're just going to throw it into a furnace and start smelting it. And that's basically how we are going to, that's how I'm getting all of these resources to make these items that we're making. It's generally pretty easy now that we have all of those dyes mixed in there. So we can basically just take these copper nuggets and put them on the outside, and then put the redstone on the inside, I thought. Let's go here. Oh, it looks like we actually need bricks. So we're gonna have to make some clay. So I'll make the clay and the bricks. We're just gonna use a barrel to make the clay with some water, and then I will be right back. And just like that, we've got our bricks. So let's use these bricks and these copper nuggets to make our cables that we need. And just like that, we have our item cables. So I'm just going to throw these in this chest with the rest of these resources. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to use mystical agriculture to actually make these red, blue, and green dyes, because it's going to be a lot easier to do it with the seeds. So we can actually do blue seeds, and we have these blue seeds, which whenever they grow, they're going to give us blue essence. And we're also going to use these garden cloches, which you're going to need treated wood to make them, which takes this creosote oil, which the way that you make creosote oil is you use a coke oven. So we're going to make that coke oven really quick, and I'm going to work on getting some of these seeds and progressing more in that mystical agriculture so that we can have the seeds ready and prepared for our new area that we're going to create over there. So I'll be right back whenever I have all of those resources to get that area ready. Alright, so one thing that I did forget to tell you guys is how we're going to get this Inferium. So the first way that you get your Inferium is by dyeing a sapling lime, and then if you grow the sapling, you will get Inferium from the lime sapling. So let's grow the sapling really quick and I'll show you guys. And just like that, guys, we've got our first lime sapling. So let's break this, and then we will break all of those leaves, and just like that, we got Inferium Essence from it. So that's how you're going to start and get your first Inferium Essence. I'm going to do that a few more times to get some more Inferium Essence so that we can get those red, blue, and green dye seeds so that we can make that red, blue, and green essence so that we can get the dye and then turn it into resources. Alright, so we're going to use that Inferium Essence and make an Inferium seed. So the reason why we're doing that is so that we can grow Inferium, so we can actually place it on this ground and use our watering can on it, and then we can just get Inferium that way instead of just chopping down more and more of those trees. So I'm just going to do this and get a lot of Inferium Essence, and then I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. So guys, I'm going to make this coke oven. So a coke oven's pretty easy to make. It's just going to be a 9x3 tall, and you're just going to basically just cover the entire thing. And then you are going to use an immersive hammer and just click it, and there's your coke oven. So the way that we're going to actually get that creosote oil is we are going to take some planks and we're going to throw it into it, and it's just going to smelt those planks and give us creosote oil as just kind of a liquid in here while it's smelting. And while we're waiting on that, I'm going to keep trying to get these more dye seeds. The way that I got these blue dye seeds is I just threw them in some water. But as you can see, it's a little bit harder to get that green and red one. The green one is actually going to take this Inferium Essence, which is going to be the tier 3 essence. So we're going to have to make this Master Infusion Shard, which the way that we're going to be able to do that is we're going to need to do bulk halting, which is basically using a fan behind Soulfire. And the only thing that Soulfire is, it's just soul sand with fire lit on top of it. And with bulk halting, we're literally just going to throw this light blue right behind the Soulfire or right in front of it. And we're just going to basically blow it through that Soulfire, and it's going to give us prosperity shards. So I'm going to make this fan, which we're going to need andesite casing, propeller, and shaft, which need andesite alloy, which is going to be andesite and iron, so it's really not that hard. And then from there, the other ones, basically you're just going to need that same thing to make the rest of that. So this andesite casing is basically just going to be a log clicked on with that andesite. And then a propeller is going to be andesite alloy with iron plates around it. So I'll be back whenever I have the stuff to make that. And just like that, guys, we've got our Soulfire. So let's take our light blue dye and we're going to shift and right click on this. Or actually, we need this to be on the other side. And we're going to shift and right click on this and just push it through that Soulfire, and it should give us prosperity shards. And look, we got our first prosperity shard. So we're going to need a few of these, so let's throw just a little bit of those light blue dye through there, and it should give us a bunch of prosperity shards. I'll be right back with the prosperity shards that we need. And we're going to get this creosote oil in a bucket. And the way that we're going to make that treated wood is we're just going to take wood and surround this creosote oil in wood, and it gives us treated wood. So then we're just going to use this treated wood, and we're going to want to make these cloches. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to need these iron mechanisms, which we can either make them this way or we can make them in this engineer's workbench, which for this incandescent light bulb, we're actually going to need the engineer's workbench anyways. So we're going to go ahead and make this engineer's workbench. As you can see, it's not very hard. We're going to need some treated wood fence, treated wood slabs, and iron ingot, and then we're going to need this engineer's crafting table, which is just going to take some sticks and some slabs too. So it's really not going to be that hard. So I'll be right back with that engineer's workbench so that we can make these incandescent light bulbs to finally make our clutches. So here's our engineer's workbench. We are going to need some blueprints, which is going to take paper, some blue dye, and then a few of these ingots, which are going to be pretty simple for us all to make all of that. So we'll just make all of that and make these blueprints, and I'll make these incandescent light bulbs, and then I'll start making these clashes when I get back. Alright, so we're going to be making this mystical agriculture kind of altar, just so that we can make those next seeds, which I just made these by using red wool, some gold that we smelted down, and making some stone. So all we got to do is place all these pedestals down, and then once we get the resources to make those new seeds, all we have to do is place it in all of this, and then we'll put a lever right here, and then we just click the lever and it'll start making that seed for us. All right, so we got all of the resources for those garden clutches now, so let's make those. And you're probably wondering, how are we going to power these, and how are we going to put water in them? So we already know the power problem. We are going to just use that Stirling generator and then put some coal in it, and then it should power these. But you're probably wondering, how are we going to get water into them? Because they need water to actually work properly. So we're actually going to use a sink, which is an actual infinite water supply, to get it. So we're going to use a sink and just put it back here, and then we're going to pump it into all three of these, and we're going to use some more of those cables that we were talking about earlier, but we're going to use the fluid cables. So I'll be back whenever we get that sink and whenever we get those cables. Alright guys, so we got the stuff to make this red seed. So I'm going to show you guys how this works. So we're actually just going to press this, and it does some particle effects to the seed. And it makes you your seed. So now we have a red dye seed. So we're just going to get some more essence and basically do the same thing and get a red seed. While we're talking about that, you can actually use some of this essence on dirt and make it a Inferium farmland, and that will actually grow your things just a little bit faster. So we're going to use that farmland inside of our cloches to actually make these seeds grow a little bit faster. Alright guys, we've got everything that we need to automate this process now. So let's take these seeds and let's throw them into these cloches, just like that. And then we are going to take the rest of this and plug it in, just how it looks. I went ahead and made a crafter really quick. It's just going to use some simple resources that we already have. And this is basically just going to automate this process, and it's just going to allow us to craft these recipes without really having to do much. So let's go to the back with our sink, because the back of this is our input for fluid. So we're going to take this, and we're going to take these fluid pipes and run them in the back right here. And then we're going to take the item pipes, which it's going to be outputting from right here. And we're just going to flow that. Actually, we're going to change that and flow them in from the back. And we're going to be actually doing our power from above, because all of these cloches need power too. So we're just going to power them from above and use that dynamo that we made earlier. So we're going to use the Stirling Dynamo, and we're going to take some of that coal and throw it into there, and it should start running our process. So let's go grab that coal really quick, and then and we actually are going to need a cyclic wrench too. So I'll make that wrench really quick, and I'll go get some coal for that, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, I went ahead and got that charcoal, and I made some more energy cables because we're actually going to need energy for this printer too. So let's hook that up to that energy, and we're going to use our wrench to actually use these to export these items. So as you can see there, I accidentally made it to where that disconnected, so we're going to reconnect it, and we are just going to click it and not shift click it. So if we just click it, it'll get our system working. So we're going to extract from here and put that into here, or not extract from that one. So we're going to do this and extract from that one, and we're going to put that RGB dye in there. And we're going to go up here and we're going to extract some power from this dynamo. So now it's outputting power. So it should be filling up these and filling up this crafter, which the crafter is getting power to, and so is the printer. So I'll be back whenever we, or actually we need to take water out of here too, to fill up these and get them started. So guys, it turns out in this mod pack, the sink is not actually an infinite water source. So instead of doing that, we're actually just going to make an infinite water source back there, and we're going to use one of these fluid hoppers and just use a infinite water source and flow it right into the system. So I'm gonna make that infinite water source, and then I'll be back and we'll have some essence, and I will auto craft all of these recipes in here. So if we take this blue dye and we make 4 of it, we should get blue dye. And we want the result of this to stay in the input, because if it goes to the output, it's going to go to this printer. In the last one, we're actually going to have an output to this printer because it's going to be that actual RGB dye. So I'll be right back whenever I finish making that infinite water source back there, and we'll start auto crafting. Alright guys, so I'm back. I made this infinite water supply back here, so all it is that fluid hopper and those cables underneath, and it's just sucking up that water and throwing it straight into our clouches so that we can get that essence. And as you can see, we already have some red dye essence, so let's make that our second recipe to make that red dye, and we'll apply that, and then we will have it remember those once we get all of those dyes. And just like that, we have all 3 of those. And then let's see if we can get the RGB dye really quick. So we're going to keep these internal. So we want to keep both of those internal. And we'll actually break this really quick because I'm pretty sure it made those dyes, but it was trying to transport them, but it wasn't allowing it to. So as we can see, all of those stayed internal now, and all we need is that blue dye now. So we'll click remember so that it remembers the current items that are in here, so that every time that it gets those, it's going to just keep remembering them in here, and it's not going to put anything in that spot other than those. And that one, we actually want it to exit those, and we want it to get sucked out. So we're going to click that, and it should start exporting that and throwing it into our printer. And then our printer is just going to turn it into more resources. Hey guys, so I had to change the cables around just a little bit because the only way that you can import it into this printer is you actually have to put it in from above. So I just made some more item cables and put it in from above. And that'll be all for today's episode, guys. Thank you guys for watching today's episode. Sorry it was a little bit all over the place. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below.